Ladies and gentlemen, the factory for Boston.
What's going on YouTube? It's boy Jessamade here on YouTube and for Beatown. Today's back in another reaction video. The unexpected downfall of MLB's best team. Oh boy. You guys know where I'm gonna go with this. This is the video that I have been wanting to react to about the Boston Red Sox for a while now. And even though this is not the Red Sox video that I did first react to, that was supposed to be uploaded on Thursday, I do want to get this video out there because it kind of gives the timeline of the front office and how they are where they are today with the organization. And I feel like this gives a little bit of a context. And this is a 44-minute long video, so there's not going to be much pausing in this video. And I'm going to try and keep this introduction short and sweet so you guys can watch this video with me and we can dissect this together. So I can pause it and give my thoughts and reaction. So on that note, it's time to kick back, relax, and enjoy the video. Leave a thumbs up if you guys enjoy these types of videos. Subscribe if you guys knew you guys what to do. Go check out our website. The link is in the description down below. If you guys will be notified whenever we drop an upload, hit that notification bell so you can be the first one to watch these videos. Without further ado, stop straight into the reaction.
Winning a championship is the hardest thing to do in all of sports. But then again, the Red Sox won 4 of them in just 20 years. All while having the best players in baseball, 3 MVPs, several Hall of Famers, and winning more championships than anyone throughout the 2000s. However, it's been nearly a decade since their last World Series. And since then, they've made the playoffs only 1 time and are constantly ranked at the bottom of their division, which
2 times. Oh wait, no, that video was recorded 9 months ago. Okay, so this is before the 2025 playoffs, so my fault on that back stat. But now 2 times at the time of this video, once.
They had the best team in baseball with the best player. It was their top team in franchise history and ranks among the best in baseball history. According to MLB.com, they were smartly managed and had an ownership that was considered the golden standard.
Yeah, right. Get real.
I almost spilled myself. Oh, yeah. Who wrote this article? Wait a minute. Who wrote this article? Okay, this was in the writer's defense right after the Red Sox won the 2018 World Series. But Red Sox were shrewdly constructed and smartly managed. Their ownership is baseball's golden standard.
The future. Oh, I can tell you about the future.
Where's this writer? I need him to write up an article about this ownership now.
You either die a hero, or you live long enough to see yourself become the villain.
Can we please get whoever wrote this and get him to write an article? You know what? Maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it. I mean, content's been kind of up and down a little bit for the YouTube channel. It's time to get some articles for you guys to read out there. Get to work on that.
They were smartly managed and had an ownership that was considered the golden standard. Today, just about none of that can still be said,
anymore.
Despite having this
Golly.
ownership and manager. Everyone wants Fenway Sports Group to sell the team, and some want manager Alex Cora to be fired. Going from winning 119 games in 2018 to winning almost 40 games less in 2019 was a disaster. And it's only gotten worse the more that they missed the postseason. To almost everyone, their fall-off makes literally no sense. And I say that as a Red Sox fan. So, how did they go from this
Red Sox win the World Series
to this?
Now another fan favorite, homegrown talent, is leading Boston.
Bogarts isn't
Guys, I'm still pissed at them for this. I know the contract hasn't aged well that San Diego has given them. I understand that. But I truly believe that if the Red Sox were competitive with their offer with him, he would still, one, be here, and two, I believe that he would do better here than he would in San Diego. I truly believe that. So it's just like, he was doing good this year. At the beginning of the year, he has cooled off a little bit. But again, truly, I think if Bogey was here versus San Diego, I think he'd be a much better player here if he stuck around as opposed to go to San Diego. So I'm still pissed at ownership for making that move. Again, if you're going to look at it, who are you going to pay? Xander Bogaerts or Trevor Story? Back in 2022, I'm still paying Bogaerts over Trevor Story. Sorry, I'm just doing that. I mean, Bogey has stayed on the field at least,
in 2025,
and has given them
seemingly
something.
Out of nowhere, in the midst of a playoff race, a winning streak, and after sweeping their rival, the Red Sox sent away their best player, Rafael Devers. But why, and how did we get here? Okay, first, you really need to understand how amazing the Red Sox were.
Okay, yes, this is exactly how this video's going with how I hoped.
In right field, Mookie Betts, with a superstar shortstop, Xander Bogaerts, and a rising third base prospect in Rafael.
Hold on.
Okay, first, you really need to understand how amazing the Red Sox were. The day is October 28th, 2018. They have a generational talent in right field, Mookie Betts, with a superstar shortstop, Xander Bogaerts, and a rising third base prospect in Rafael Devers. The team is on the brink of winning the World Series, and it's all thanks to a few important people. Number one being their chief baseball officer, Dave Dombrowski. He built the team and was known for his aggressiveness at acquiring players. Before this World Series, they had almost everything their last three championship teams had. Elite hitting, leadership, but they lacked a superstar pitcher. Dombrowski saw no one better than a tall 6'6", young, nasty pitcher from the Chicago White Sox, lefty pitcher Chris Sale.
The Red Sox still won this trade, by the way.
Extremely controversial, and not because of Chris Sale specifically, but it's that they had to
Where's
give
Michael
up the
Kopech
number one
now?
prospect in all
Where's
of baseball,
Yohan Moncada?
Fast forward to the World Series, and they had won this trade big time. The second person that they could thank for their success was actually their owner, John Henry. He had just paid huge record money to star pitcher David Price on a 7-year contract, and J.D. Martinez, who in 2018 was a top.
A lot of people say the David Price contract was a bust. I disagree.
Was manager Alex Cora.
I think it was a well-worth contract.
He was able to utilize the team's talent all the way to the World Series. But where Alex Cora was most significant was on Mookie Betts. For instance, take a look at 2017. Mookie's first pitch swing percentage was just 16%. But because of his natural hitting ability, Cora wanted Mookie to be more aggressive, so that number jumped up to 22.6 in 2018.
You know what? I was always a first pitch swing guy. Like, sometimes the first pitch you get is going to be the best pitch that you're going to get in that bat. So jump all over it.
Also,
like,
Mookie Betts their leadoff hitter and gave him 17 more rest days than the year prior. It's because of these moves by Alex Cora that Mookie won the MVP with a .346 batting average, 32 homers, and a third consecutive Gold Glove award.
Nasty.
And yeah, this is
and
how
they
we get
traded
to a
that
team
guy.
That won 119 games. Going into 2019,
What the?
Boston was the favorite to repeat as division champions over their rival, the Yankees. They retained all of the key pieces of the puzzle outside of bullpen arm Joe Kelly and closer Craig Kimbrell. The Red Sox had a main goal, and that was to extend the contracts of their star talent. So just a few days before opening day,
which was the
Chris
right
Sale signed
thing
a
to
massive
do.
Extension, 5 years, $145 million. They had even announced that he was going to be pitching in the season opener.
I guess Chris Sale, that one should have been a little bit differently because he came off an injury. Maybe you should have waited the 2019 year to see like how he was going to look before giving him that kind of money. But like again, I get why they did it.
On opening day, Chris Sale imploded on the mound, and I mean it wasn't even just him. The Red Sox all around looked awful, and they lost with a final score of 12-4. It set a precedent going forward of losing with a 2-8 record through their first 10 games. On the other hand, their hitting was phenomenal. Rafael Devers had a true breakout season as a power hitter. He even hit for a very high batting
I think they actually
average.
hit better that
Mookie
year
Betts
than they
and
did
JD Martinez
2018.
were also still playing at
And that's
an elite
crazy to
level.
say.
The real issue with the 2019 Red Sox was the steep decline for their pitching.
Yeah.
And the reason they got so bad to begin with is because Alex Cora misuses pitchers, overworking them with little to no preparation. And it starts all the way back in spring training when Alex Cora had an extremely controversial schedule for the team. One that he even defended after it failed. But why was it so bad? It's just a spring training schedule. Well, his hands-off approach allowed players to do whatever they wanted, prompting some players to show up out of shape, overweight, and his pitchers to not be ready for the season. This is of course combined with a pitching staff that had to work an extra 14
Maybe he
games in the
did he
2018
did that probably
postseason.
because of the long year
Therefore,
they just
it's
had.
no surprise that their best pitchers all dealt with huge
And the
injuries
all
with
hands
a
on
huge
deck.
decline. And I mean, it reached a point where this rotation was unpitchable, and the bullpen was always taxed due to overuse. They finished the year with their worst record in over 4 seasons at 84-78.
He's still over 500.
They were in shambles and were about to make their biggest mistake. But before I tell you what they did, Boston was on a downward spiral. To make matters worse, the Red Sox organization was about to be blown up at every level, starting with Dave Dombrowski being relieved from his duties.
That was mistake number one.
Which is seen today as their biggest mistake, but we'll get to that later. The man they hired to replace him was a Tampa-based front officeman, Chaim Bloom. The argument they made for Bloom versus Dombrowski is that Dombrowski supposedly bled the farm system to win the 2018 World Series and had a poor draft record, whereas Bloom was supposed to be the opposite. After all, he worked at the Tampa Bay Rays, which operated under one of the lowest budgets in baseball. Now, he got to work with Fenway Sports Group, one of the top budgets, right? Well, not exactly. According to ESPN, owners John Henry and Tom Werner said that they intended on making major cuts to the payroll in order to get under the luxury tax threshold in 2020.
Dumb.
And it went on to add that they fired Dombrowski due to differing opinions on how to build for their future.
Oy, there's sign number one. Late September of 2019, Henry and Tom Werner said that there was going to be major cuts to the payroll. Like, you just won the championship a year ago. Why are you resetting then? Like, that made
In other words,
no
Chaim Bloom was
sense.
brought to the organization to draft well, but not sign. He was brought to the organization to make them cheap and not spend money. They didn't want any more big free agent deals or extensions. No more Chris Sale, JD Martinez, Xander Bogaerts, or David Price-esque contracts. They wanted a guy who went to Yale from the small market Rays, who was referred to as the smartest man in baseball to rebuild their team. And already, just a few months after he got the job, this team was about to change significantly.
Mookie
Forever.
Betts and David Price, both to the Dodgers as part of a 3-team deal.
Their best player, their generational talent, was now gone. Clearly, they weren't looking to be competitive, but they proceeded to lie to the fans anyway.
The main purpose of today's trade...
I will never, ever, ever agree with this trade. Never. That one's unforgivable alone. Curse of the Bambino? We're on to the curse of Mookie. Seriously, we're on to that. These are the type of guys that you never, ever, 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 ever let go. And I'll go as far as saying this, even if it meant Xander Bogaerts leaving to keep him, I would have understood it. And that's coming from a bogey guy. Like, that's how good Mookie Betts is. Like, he's just a different level. You don't trade guys like him. You don't let these guys walk for nothing. And they did that. What did they get in return for him? Ended up getting Connor Wong, really, in the end. And what was it, 2-3 years of Alex Verdugo?
player, their generational talent was now gone. Clearly, they weren't looking to be competitive.
I got emailed by
they proceeded to lie
the
to
ticket
fans
office,
anyway.
season ticket office,
The
to
main
renew.
purpose of today's
After that, I was like,
trade is
nope,
to help us compete
we're good.
and win as much as possible for many years.
Do you think that it would have been easier to compete
That one pissed
and
me off
win
too
with
much.
one of the best arms, gloves, and bats in the entire league? Or would it perhaps be easier to win with the return they got? Being outfielder Alex Verdugo, who had a promising rookie season with the Dodgers, alongside with prospect Jeter Downs and catcher prospect Connor Wong, who were unproven. I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that you would probably say you would win more games with Mookie Betts, but that is not what Chaim Bloom thought or the Red Sox.
Get a great infusion of young talent into our organization, and when you combine that with the financial flexibility that we created, we think this sets us up well to compete.
Now, to be completely fair, this was on the ownership being cheap more than it was on Chaim Bloom.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for Bloom, the Red Sox were about to receive even more bad news.
Alex Cora has been suspended for all of the 2020 season.
Despite the struggles Alex Cora encountered in 2019, he was considered one of the best managers in baseball. Filling in for him in 2020 was Cora's bench coach. And let me just tell you, this was their worst team of the 2000s, and it wasn't even close. They had just one starting pitcher under a .450 earned run average, meaning they all sucked. This is the rotation of 2020, and here is their closer, Matt Barnes, all with terrible statistics. However, the Red Sox were able to make a very good move, acquiring Nick Pivetta from the Phillies. He had struggled badly in the big leagues, but everybody knew that he had amazing stuff. The cost to get him was Brandon Workman and Heath Hembry, who were both on the Red Sox
was a nice
World
trade.
Series roster. As for the 2020 lineup, Alex Verdugo actually had a breakout season, batting .308. But then we had two once promising players in Andrew Benintendi and Michael Chavis, who had both looked really bad. On top of this, Chris Sale was riddled with injury, not throwing a single
I'm kind of
pitch
sad
in
that they're not going to
2020.
go into why Benny got
This team
ruined.
seemed years away from winning anything with the limited talent that they had. I mean, going into 2021, they needed an entire rotation, a second baseman, a center fielder, and a right fielder. Chaim Bloom decided to go the cheaper, temporary option of signing a bunch of rentals, each who had a unique skill set. For starters, he decided that he wanted Christian Arroyo to play second base, a struggling big leaguer who had not done much of anything to this point in his career. Bloom was only familiar with Arroyo due to their ties in Tampa Bay, where he saw serious potential with him. In free agency, he also acquired center fielder Kike Hernandez and right fielder Hunter Renfroe.
Renfroe was a nice
Kike
pickup,
provided
though.
Gold Glove defense throughout his time with the LA
Kike
Dodgers,
actually didn't
and
turn
Bloom
out
hoped
too
that
bad
he'd
for
carry
them.
that over into Boston. Hunter Renfroe, on the other hand, had hit 26 home runs twice, while topping out at 33 homers in a single season. The lineup had serious potential to actually be competitive. And I haven't even mentioned that they had a top rising first base prospect in Bobby Dahlback. Bobby had a successful rookie campaign in 2020 and was going to be just as important as anybody for them to win. As for the rotation, Nathan Eovaldi was expected to lead. Pivetta had to break out or else they wouldn't win, and Eduardo Rodriguez was finally coming back after not pitching in 2020. The other two rotation spots were a little bit unclear, as Chris Sale wasn't expected to be back until the second half of the season. So, pitching on opening day for the Baltimore Orioles was Nathan Eovaldi. He went 5 innings and gave up only 1 run, but the offense was shut out. They were actually swept in their first series of the year, starting their season out with 0 wins and 3 losses. But they were about to go on a major winning streak, sweeping the Orioles, the Rays, and almost even the Twins. They were able to carry this momentum very well into June. In the second series of the month, they swept the Yankees in dominant fashion. But in July, the trade deadline was coming up, so they needed to make a big move. At first base, the Red Sox were towards the bottom of the league in production. It was all due to an underwhelming second year from Bobby Dahlback. The odds were that they would find a suitable trade partner and acquire someone else. Though, even with his lack of production, Boston's core was actually hitting well. I mean, you look at depth.
You know what? I'm gonna make a hot take right now, I think. I'm thinking about this real quick. I think Chaim Bloom executed decent trades, obviously minus the Mookie Betts trade. And if you want to argue with me, the Mookie Betts trade wasn't his choice to do, yeah, we can definitely have that discussion. So if you want to fault that more on ownership than Chaim Bloom, go right ahead, knock yourself out. But I truly think you can look at some trades that Chaim Bloom made and you can say, hey, not terrible. Pivetta is one of them. Kyle Schwarber, they're about to get into. I think that was his best trade he made by far. He signed Kike Hernandez. I think he signed Hunter Renfroe. I could be wrong. But he made some decent moves. Like, you can definitely name some pieces that Chaim Bloom has added to the Red Sox that you look at and you're like, you know what? Nice. Good job. Breslow on the other hand? Breslow? I mean, who can you really name that he signed that has been really good for them? I mean, Ranger Suarez, I guess? Bregman, sure. Crochet, he's made a couple moves. I think Bloom has definitely made better moves for the organization than Breslow has made so far.
Bogarts, Martinez.
There needs to be a video between the two GMs.
But they wanted one more.
Oh, that's what we could do for a video, maybe.
Red Sox, they entered the mix here, making a deal for Kyle Schwarber.
That was a great trade, Kyle Schwarber.
Red Sox a second option from Bobby Dahlback. Schwarber could play in left field, he could be the designated hitter, or whatever. Up to this point, he had already hit 25 homers with the Nationals and had a 910
solid
OPS. The Red Sox were already winning the AL East without him, so how much better would they actually be with him? Well, considering almost all of their power came from right-handed hitters outside of a left-handed Devers, Schwarber's power bat was going to play amazing in Fenway Park. And it certainly did. I mean, there was no better way to show that than what happened in the 2021 playoffs. After being the
he was an
third-place
animal
team in the AL East, the Blue Jays, and the Yankees, they had a crazy postseason ahead of them.
I mean,
in round one of the postseason, it was the matchup that everyone wanted in the Bronx.
They lost some life at the end of this regular season.
A wildcard series with the Yankees' best pitcher, Garrett Cole, stepping onto the mound. I'm not sure how much that you know about the rivalry between these two, but Rafael Devers historically destroyed Garrett Cole for years. In the first inning, with no...
I gotta admit, this might have been one of the best games ever uploaded on this channel. Like, it's in the top 10. Listen. At the expense of Mike's misery, honestly.
A very bad day. I am in no mood. This today is one of the worst days that I've had in a long time. I'm not in the mood to play with anybody.
Holy shoot, that was a great night. That was a nice night. I remember when I was at Brady's return game, and I got a phone call from Mike saying, hey, Tuesday, you in for the wild card game? I'm like, is it confirmed? He goes, yeah, it's confirmed if you want to go. I said, hell, let's do it. Let's freaking go. And once I got the call confirming that, like, we were gonna go, the wheels went turning in my head, and I went, oh my god, this might be one of the greatest videos ever recorded on this YouTube channel, because it's Yankees versus Red Sox. Wild card game is basically a game 7. Winner moves on, loser goes home. me or Mike is going to be leaving that place sad. And it just opens the door for memes for years to come. Let me know in the comment section down below which clip from that game was your favorite. I mean, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna put my favorite clip right here.
Yankees suck! Yankees suck! Yankees suck! Hey! Goodbye!
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would know.
That was unbelievable. Shout out to Mike for getting us in the building there.
Rafael Devers walked, putting Xander Bogaerts up to the plate.
And he swings and drives one to
I'm mad I missed this on camera.
Going back, looking up. Goodbye, home run, Xander Bogaerts.
They took
one of the best home runs I think I've ever seen him hit.
Schwarber added to the score with a home run crushed off of Garrett Cole.
We got that one a little bit.
And they were moving on. And this postseason was about to get crazier than anyone could have anticipated. The Red Sox got to face the Rays, Chaim Bloom's former team, that had just won 100
We went to the
games.
2 best games of the postseason that year.
That this Red Sox team, built entirely on a bunch
Wild
of
card game in
players,
Game
would
3
win
of the
series.
ALDS.
It started with the Rays winning one.
Those were
and the Red
the
Sox
2 best
winning
games of the
one. It was
postseason for the Red
such an
Sox.
even matchup. And in Game 3, they were about to break everybody's expectations. It was a long game. Kike had a huge home run. The Red Sox maintained their lead for a few innings, but everything began to fail.
What a great
First,
game.
Rookie shortstop Wander Franco hit a homer over the Green Monster. And then Kike Hernandez literally fell, missing a baseball in center field. The Rays were able to tie this game, and the only way for the Red Sox to win was going to come from an amazing late appearance from Nick Pivetta. When it mattered the most, like in the 11th inning, he struck this guy out, then this guy on this fastball, and to end it, dropped a curveball in the zone and yelled at the top of his lungs. Pivetta looked filthy, and he was. Everything was building towards this moment in the 13th inning, with Christian Vasquez up to bat.
Vasquez!
Delivers, and there's a drive left field, high and deep, back by the wall! Gone! Red Sox win it! Christian Vasquez!
Bloom's plan was coming to fruition. They were right there, so close to a World Series. All they had to do was defeat Alex Cora's former team, the Astros. Chris Sale was taking the mound for the second time this postseason. If you look at the first time, it did not go well against the Rays, so how would this go? Unfortunately, he struggled badly in the 2 small innings he pitched, and they lost Game 1. Usually, losing such a big game would kill their momentum, but just about every baseball fan was about to be stunned with Game 2. It starts with Kyle Schwarber ripping this ball down to right field for a deep double. The next at-bat, Kike Hernandez taps one into center, where Chas McCormick makes an insane diving catch onto the ground for the out. Then, Rafael Devers walks on base and Xander Bogaerts gets out. In a 3-1 count with 2 runners on, Alex Verdugo secured a walk loading the bases and setting up JD Martinez.
Hits it in the air to right. Back at the wall. It's gone. Grand slam, JD Martinez.
This set the momentum for the game. They loaded the bases once again in the 2nd inning.
Swings and tries one. Deep to right field, and it's there. It's gone. It is there. A grand slam.
The Red Sox won this game in a blowout and were headed back to Fenway Park for their next game. We saw in the 2nd inning, after Verdugo walked, JD Martinez hit a ball off the Green Monster. Righty Hunter Renfroe was able to walk onto base, and Vasquez capped it off with a beautiful single to right field, scoring a run and keeping them loaded. Next up was second baseman Christian Arroyo.
Might be off the mound, off Altuve.
It was a 2-0 game with bases still loaded and Schwarber up to bat.
Schwarber hits it a ton into right at the wall. Another grand slam.
This team was unstoppable. The Red Sox were clearly bound for a 2021 World Series berth. until everything collapsed in front of them during the following games. Their offense scored 2 runs in Game 4, 1 in Game 5, and 0 in
Game 4.
6.
I will never forgive
And
Laz
we
Diaz
can't
for
forget
that
about
one.
how bad the bullpen was during that stretch, resulting in them being bounced from the postseason and their run coming to an end.
It was downhill since
But
then.
at least they had pieces to build around, right? Well, Chaim Bloom could easily mess this team up over the next few years. Why do I say that? Well, a key player was about to become a free agent, being Kyle Schwarber. He was in his late 20s, but wasn't that old. He had a lot of great baseball left in him. And he was the top lefty power hitter outside of Rafael Devers on the Boston Red Sox. But unfortunately, Schwarber provided no defensive value and was best fit in a designated hitter role. The problem the Red Sox were running into was that JD Martinez was in the way. So, they had a problem paying 2 top designated hitters and didn't go through with a deal allowing him to leave for Philadelphia. It's been a major mistake because I'll tell you, in Philadelphia, he's been a top 3 power hitter in all of baseball, which really just showcases how incompetent Chaim Bloom and the Red Sox ownership handled that
You could have got him to
situation.
play first. I'm sorry.
And I
You
haven't
could
even
have.
mentioned the fact that they had sent away Hunter Renfroe to the Brewers for an underwhelming 3-player return. However, they had 2 chances to redeem themselves directly after all of this. You see, they had been talking to former MVP shortstop Trevor Story from the Colorado Rockies.
This was a mistake. I'm sorry. Oh my god, man's gonna kill me again! Everybody was hyped about this signing, except for me. I'm gonna keep it 100. Everybody was hyped about this signing by the Red Sox, except for me. I saw the Red Sox made this move for how cheap the contract was as well, and I went, uh-oh. Because I knew what they were saying, how he was going to move to second base and everything else like that. Like, cool. But I know what you're going to do in the long term. You're going to move him to shortstop, back to his normal position, and you're going to kick my boy to the curb. When Trevor Story, yeah, with Colorado he was good, but like, we know in Colorado sometimes the players' stats could look inflated. Like, statistically, you can look at a player who started off in Colorado and joined other teams and see a drop-off. I was like, this is, no. I wasn't feeling this from day one. And I knew what this was setting up going forward. And I knew they were just trying to hold leverage against Bogarts. Because they have the cheaper option at shortstop for the future. I knew it. I just knew it.
He had an amazing glove, a decent arm, and a solid bat. They pursued him
In the
throughout
injury
free
history
agency and were able to get their guy on a huge 6-year, $140 million deal in the middle of spring training. He would play at second base while Xander Bogaerts stayed over at shortstop. Many people were very excited to watch this infield duo dominate, but there was one major negative about everything. And that is, are you telling me that Trevor Story is given a record contract, but Xander Bogaerts is on the verge of being a free agent right after 2022?
Yep.
Yeah, it wasn't the best look, but at least they were spending money again, I guess. But the reality of the 2022 Red Sox was that they really just weren't that good, ranking at the bottom of their division just a year after being in the championship series. There was much more bad than there was good. I mean, Chris Sale came back from Tommy John, yay. Well, no. He pitched and then broke his wrist while riding his bike. That contract looked even worse, but more than anyone, Chaim Bloom looked the worst because just weeks before Sale broke his wrist, there was a team reportedly willing to pay for all of Chris Sale's contract, but Chaim Bloom said no, keeping him and his dumb contract on a dumb team. Then you look at the hitting. One player had more than 20 homers, obviously Rafael Devers, and just 2 players had over an 800 OPS, again, obviously Devers and Bogarts. As for the pitching, it wasn't very good at all, but I'll give Heimblum some credit. I mean, you look at the rotation, he picked up an overlooked Michael Wacha, that went out great. He was their best pitcher with a 3.32 ERA. Alongside that, I haven't even brought up reliever Garrett Whitlock, who Bloom had acquired the year prior and had been amazing, earning himself a 4-year extension. Though, don't get me twisted, the Red Sox were about to get even worse. It seemed that going into 2023, all of their top players were about to become free agents. Their two best pitchers, Michael Wacha and Nathan Eovaldi, were hitting the market, while also JD Martinez and their longtime shortstop Xander Bogaerts were also hitting the market. But with so much going on, where do you even begin? And goal number 1 was, of course, bringing Xander Bogaerts back in Boston.
Well, that's what it should have been! That's what it should have been! Nope! Nope, you know what we have now? We have Trevor Story, injury-prone Trevor Story, who had a down year his first year with the Red Sox and even got hurt with us. That's our fallback. We're cool with that. So if you want to come back, you got to take our offer, you got to take a pay cut, and just live with that. Otherwise, good luck to ya. Basically told him to F off. After everything he's done for the organization, and during the first time they had a contract extension negotiation, he was the one that took the pay cut. He took the pay cut the first time. In 2019. Really couldn't have taken care of him the second time? Really? Or, I don't know, in spring training, offer him what he was asking for and then just call it a day? No, of course you wouldn't do that. Why would you do that? This was the final straw. That was the final straw when they said he was priority number 1 of the offseason, and then it just never turned out to be the case. And, again, per sources, turned out to be a lie. That was my last straw. This was it right here. That's when I was done.
With so much going on, where do you even begin? And goal number 1 was, of course, bringing Xander Bogaerts back in Boston.
Should have been.
They, of course, had tried to negotiate before the season, but the Red Sox stupidly lowballed him and they screwed themselves. Teams began to offer way too much money for Xander Bogaerts, but out of nowhere, a report came out that the Boston Red Sox were in heavy discussion with him. After all, he led the team with a .307 batting average and had just been a finalist for the Gold Glove Award. Yet, just when everyone thought he was about to come back, he left for the San Diego Padres, signing a huge 11-year deal worth $280 million, far more than the Red Sox were ever willing to pay him.
By $120 million.
And Schwarber were both gone. Michael Wacha and Nathan Eovaldi were also on the verge of leaving for other teams, despite actually wanting to come back. They were falling apart, and this very well could have been prevented if the Red Sox had just paid the right players.
Yep.
I mean, instead of paying Trevor Story, pay Xander Bogaerts
no shit!
2022. Or, hell, you maybe could have paid Kyle Schwarber instead of Trevor Story.
Seriously!
Bloom knew that he had made a lot of mistakes, but was about to try to make up for them. The Red Sox shocked everyone when they signed a star hitter from Japan, Masataka Yoshida. A left-handed outfielder who hit for a high batting average, didn't strike out, walked a lot, and could immediately play in left field.
Wow!
A position that they had been in dire need of since Andrew Benintendi and Schwarber were gone. This was exciting news, and the Red Sox
that was exciting.
Being done.
The Red Sox.
I mean, that would have been great if you kept Bogaerts and kept the core.
Former Braves
but you know,
closer Kenley Jansen was their first big move, and to be a setup man in the bullpen, they brought in reliever Chris Martin. This was clearly the Heimblum offseason. It was his team, his blueprint, and his idea was coming together. He wasn't very interested in the idea of retaining Wacha or Eovaldi. He instead opted to chase starting pitcher Zach Eflin. Zach was a consistent pitcher who was always getting better with the Phillies. He was also just 28 years old and could be an important asset in building this Red Sox team. It seemed like the Red Sox were getting this finalized, but then the Red Sox had to break everyone's heart. Heimblum lost this bidding war to acquire Zach Eflin to his former team, the Tampa Bay Rays. This was
he saw your
that would hurt the Red
situation,
Sox in so many different
and then the
ways.
Rays swooped in and
But
went,
by far, the worst part
I'm
about
good.
Eflin being off the market is that the Red Sox had no plan B. They scrambled and they ended up signing a pitcher who was a gazillion years past his prime, should have been in a retirement home, Corey Kluber. Without a doubt, he was an underwhelming acquisition who nobody was excited about. The next big move was figuring out whether to bring back JD Martinez or not. He had been their designated hitter for 5 years, but it looked like his home run power was finally running out at his old age.
I think I said it was time
Bloom
for
made
JD
the wise
too.
decision to move on from him, and instead opted to sign another former Dodger, this time being Justin Turner. He could slide right into the DH
I think
role,
honestly that
third
swap
or
was
first
okay
base.
that year.
Turner was also a right-handed hitter with a ton of potential to fit
He did
in
pretty
at
good.
Fenway Park. He was also their last major move of this free agent cycle. Dare I say that even with the loss of talent, that there was a chance they could be better in 2023? Well, undeniably, it becomes a very bold assumption, especially when you go and look at what the Yankees did compared to the Red Sox. They re-signed the best hitter on the planet, Aaron Judge, and also signed the best pitcher on the free agent market in Carlos Rodon.
Like, what the Yankees did is what the Red Sox should have
done. And in
done.
order for them to break out in 2023, they needed their top 2 prospects to play well. Those players were their new first baseman, Tristan Casas, and starting pitcher, Brian Bayo.
Casas has been a bust.
And to be honest,
Bayo's
the Red
been
Sox were fun in the first half of
technically
2023. They were multiple games above 500, and some of the top guys were playing great. But by far their biggest surprise in Boston was outfielder Jarren Duran. He had been terrible in years past, but was exceptional as an outfielder defensively and offensively, providing amazing speed on the base paths and hitting double after double. If the Red Sox were able to add any talent at the trade deadline, they would have another serious chance at a postseason. Being they were just 2.5 games out of a wildcard spot, and their best player, Rafael Devers, was calling out the front office to acquire pitching, they had to make a move. Devers said this: "Everybody knows what we need. Hopefully we can get that in the next few days. We can't control that as players. All we can do is give 100% on the field, but we need pitching." However, that next day just never came where the Red Sox made a splashy move. In fact, their only 2 notable moves was trading Kike Hernandez to the Dodgers and acquiring Luis Arias from the Brewers to play second base. This turned out to be Heimblum's biggest mistake of 2023.
That added to Devers' frustration.
Looking past the first half, they were never truly able to get anywhere in 2023. Why? Well, there were 3 main reasons, starting with their shortstop situation. First, it was supposed to be Trevor Story at short, but due to an unforeseen elbow problem, he was out for over 100 games.
Elbow problem, which is why teams were hesitant to give him a long-term contract, by the way. Like, that is why the Red Sox got him for so cheap. Is because teams were concerned about his elbow issue and his injury history going forward. And they were right about that. I think the Red Sox would have been fine keeping Trevor Story and signing him if they kept him as second base and they had Xander Bogaerts as their shortstop. I think they would have been fine going forward in the future. But they didn't go that route.
Filling in for him was supposed to be Kike Hernandez, who of course eventually got traded and did not play well at shortstop at all. They scrambled to find other options, landing 2 players: Yu Chang, who had great defense but flat out couldn't hit, and Pablo Reyes. Their second problem was the brutal starting pitching. Not a single pitcher had below a 3 ERA. All of Garrett Whitlock, Tanner Houck, and even Chris Sale regressed harshly in 2023. Even their top prospect, Brian Bayo, had looked great in the first half, but looked borderline unpitchable by the end of the season. And their last problem was by far their horrid defense. Rafael Devers' glove looked awful at third, Kike was unplayable, and second base was a revolving door for them all year long. It had reached a point where Heimblum's time in Boston was finally coming to an end, and they supposedly wanted to hire someone who could replenish the pitching in their organization, because they had no great pitching prospects and didn't seem to have much going on at the big league level. When asked what they need to be competitive in 2024, they said this.
And I think it's important that we conduct a robust search to hear different views, different opinions, different perspectives.
Their search for a new chief baseball officer included 5 external candidates. But the most attractive option seemed to have been the Cubs pitching director, Craig Breslow. He had once been a player.
No, how come you didn't mention how those candidates
with them
that they looked at declined interviews with them?
Fans were genuinely excited for 2024. Red Sox ownership only ignited that excitement by saying they will go full throttle to improve the team. Everybody is
the greatest quote of all time. Like, that is on the Mount Rushmore of quotes by this front office staff within these past 6 years. I die laughing every time I hear those 2 words, full throttle.
Assumed that this meant one big bat and several very good pitchers. So yes, the Bloom era was now over, and he will have been remembered for his terrible trades, free agent signings, and total lack of direction at the trade deadline. But to be completely fair, he'll also be known for his ability to draft amazing hitters. From former first-round pick
he did draft well.
Marcelo Meyer,
that was his very consistent thing he
Roman
did.
Anthony, and finally infielder Christian Campbell. The pick that Heimblum actually used to get Christian Campbell came from when Bogarts left and the Red Sox were given a free draft pick. All 3 of these prospects were soon going to be known as the Big 3 within their minor league system. The stage was all set. Craig Breslow was going to begin year 1. But before making a splashy signing, Breslow made a big move, sending away Alex Verdugo to the rival Yankees. Defensively, it was going to hurt not having his arm in right field at Fenway Park, but they weren't losing much of anything with his bat.
Right.
The move actually gave the Red Sox pitching depth in Richard Fitz and a potential bullpen arm in Greg Weissert. A day later, Justin Slayton also joined the bullpen in a minor trade with the Mets. This bullpen looked good, but they now needed another outfielder. And that guy came in the form of righty power hitter Tyler O'Neill, who had high upside from the St. Louis Cardinals. Next on the list was to add starting pitching, and more than anybody, Sox fans like myself wanted pitchers Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Shota Iminaga, both of whom were coming from Japan, but seemed likely to have a smooth transition into the big leagues. Yamamoto was only 25 years old but looked unbelievable, whereas Shota Iminaga was a veteran at 30 years old. The reality is that they needed to throw a bag of money at Yamamoto to even get him there. The Red Sox, Mets, Yankees, and Dodgers had seemed the most interested. Optimism was slowly growing as fans began to learn that the Red Sox met with him in California. But as the days went on, things got less optimistic.
Yoshinobu Yamamoto is going to the LA Dodgers.
Yamamoto was an LA Dodger, and the Red Sox pivoted to signing someone else. They heavily went after signing veteran arm Seth Lugo, but were beaten out in money by the Kansas City Royals.
Embarrassing.
It was a pathetic look for an organization that claimed to have been serious to win. Seth Lugo said himself that he and Cora talked quite a bit, specifically on the phone a couple times, and that they were one of the...
Hold on, let's go back.
Beaten out in money by the Kansas City Royals. It was a pathetic look for an organization that claimed to have been...
That's another all-time quote right here. Baseball players are expensive to have. Oh, Linda, they booing me because I just said that? That's an all-timer too. Baseball players are expensive to get on your baseball team. Or whatever you said. I might have to pull it up and show it. That's on the Mount Rushmore too.
Serious to win. Seth Lugo said himself that he and Cora talked quite a bit, specifically on the phone a couple times, and that they were one of the last teams talking to him before making his big decision. Again, they had to pivot to someone else, and that someone else was Lucas Giolito. The contract did not look good at all. They were paying him $19 million per year, and he was not deserving of the money. He was a bottom 5 starting pitcher in all of baseball throughout 2023. Breslow realistically only made this deal because he saw serious potential in his arm. After all, he was a star pitcher in 2021, 2020, and 2019. As
Low
big
risk,
of a deal
high
as this
reward.
was,
Well, even though
Breslow was about
the
to
money
make his
was
biggest
ridiculous
move
that he
yet.
got, but
This afternoon, shockwaves were sent through Red Sox Nation as the team traded starting pitcher Chris Sale to the Atlanta Braves in exchange for some younger talent.
Not only was this heartbreaking, but the Red Sox also had to pay $17 million for Chris Sale in 2024. More
Dumb.
than half his salary. The only positive thing about this was that they got second baseman Vaughn Grissom.
that's not even a
Maybe,
positive.
just maybe he could put an end to the revolving door of Red Sox second baseman. But nobody was truly going to bank on that until they saw him play. However, the trade of Chris Sale mainly meant that they needed to make a signing urgently. Would it be Shota Imanaga? Would it be Jordan Montgomery? Or even the most recent Cy Young winner, Blake Snell?
Or how about none of the above? None of the
The
above.
answer to that is shocking, because they did not make another move for the rest of the offseason. They let Shota Imanaga go to the Cubs because they didn't want to give him enough years on his contract.
The move that they made
As
was
for the Red
shocking
Sox
because they did not
rotation,
make
it looked
another
really
move, he
bad on
said.
paper.
That's hilarious.
Lucas Giolito suffered a major injury, keeping him out for all of 2024, and Garrett Whitlock suffered the same fate early in the season. And unfortunately, they hadn't even suffered the worst of it. Just a few games in, this happened.
Diving play by Story, but he cannot. Oh, no. Oh, he's in pain here.
Trevor Story would go on to miss the majority of 2024. It forced their new prospect, Cedane Rafaela, to play shortstop. Rafaela was just 23 years old, had insane speed, solid power, and could be a serious weapon in this Red Sox team for years to come. This lineup had a lot of young talent. I haven't even mentioned young outfielder Wilyer Abreu, who the Red Sox got a few years back for trading Christian Vasquez. Even with all the injuries, they were often playing winning baseball. Still, the injuries were getting out of hand. Tristan Casas had a major rib problem that impacted his availability for the foreseeable future. The 2024 Red Sox were a lot like the 2023 Red Sox. AKA, even with the adversity, they were still in it by the trade deadline and could be going very far if they traded for additional talent. Unlike Chaim Bloom ever did, Breslow actually made moves at the deadline to acquire players. Yet, not a single one of them panned out, and 2024 went down the drain. Talent was being wasted right in front of our eyes, from Rafael Devers, Jarren Duran, and even pitcher Tanner Houck, who broke out with a great 2024. Of course, if we go back several years, the media and fans tried to tell us that Dave Dombrowski gutted this team, that they would have no future. But yet, Bayo, Houck, Duran, Casas, and Rafaela are all players that Dombrowski brought into the organization.
So let me get this straight. Out of these 5, Dombrowski hit on Jarren Duran, Cedane, when healthy, yeah, I mean, I will say he hit on Tanner Houck too, or Houck Tua. So, he hit on 3 out of the 5? Or, let's put it like this. Let's make it look a little bit better. These are all Dave Dombrowski guys that he drafted. And they all turned out to be major league players? So, was the narrative about him drafting poorly just a random narrative? Because it looks that way. I mean, again, Casas, I don't think is good. Bayo, obviously, I think is a bust. Houck, when he is healthy, has been known to be a good pitcher. I mean, when he is healthy, he had 1, 2, 3 good years in the major leagues. So, you know, I'll say that one was a hit up to last year, really. Casas, I think, has always been somewhat overrated, but he did show flashes from times. Bayo had his 1 good year last year. So realistically, if you kept Dombrowski here with his mindset to bring talent into the major league roster from free agency, extending players, trade, like whatever, he could have done both. He could have done both. And you'd be in a much better situation right now than you are at this current moment. Mookie Betts would still be here. Xander Bogaerts would still be here. Rafael Devers would still be here. Like, that's a guarantee. They thought the grass was greener without Dave Dombrowski calling the shots. And they were wrong. And I love that.
Not only that, but right after being fired from the Red Sox, he built one of the best teams in baseball with the Phillies. They've been to the World Series 1 year, they went to the Championship Series another, and 1 year went to the Division Series. He was the one who lured Kyle Schwarber from Boston into the Phillies organization, who by this point had multiple seasons with over 40 home runs under his belt since leaving the Red Sox. So maybe if they would have kept Dombrowski running things, the team wouldn't have been destroyed to begin with.
Right, that's what I just said.
The Red Sox also finished with the same record as they did in 2023. And it's because they kept having these same problems over and over again. Bad defense, bad pitching, inconsistent hitting, but most importantly, they were absolutely destroyed by bad personnel decisions. Remember when I said Chris Sale was traded to the Braves? Well, he won a Cy Young in year 1 in Atlanta. He had a .238 ERA, far better than anyone on the Red Sox had, and yet they paid the majority of his contract in 2024. What did the return do, Von Grissom? Well, he did absolutely nothing. He was bad defensively, he had poor hitting, the second base problem still
He did absolutely nothing.
That, they had no consistent hitters other than Devers, O'Neill, and Duran. All of this could have been prevented if they just would have spent money on legit talent.
Yep.
Nearly nothing remained from the 2018 Red Sox super team, and it was their fault completely.
Yep.
But becoming a real contender once again was realistic. They were so close. And if they failed to do that in 2025, it was inevitable that some of their best players would be traded, management would be fired, and everything of the last 7 years would have been for nothing. From the Betts trade, to the Sale trade, to losing Bogaerts, Martinez, and so much more. Would it all be nothing, or would they finally do it? Well, according to the #1 agent in baseball, Scott Boras, the Red Sox were wanting to secure high-level players this offseason, and were definitely planning on being very active in the free agent market. Luckily for Breslow building his team, some of the guys that Chaim Bloom signed, like Kenley Jansen and Chris Martin, were about to become free agents. But on the not-so-good side, Tyler O'Neill, who led the Red Sox in homers, was a free agent, and wasn't going to be returning to the Red Sox. Breslow had a lot of work to do, and he started his offseason off hot, signing Aroldis Chapman to be their closing pitcher.
Which I said good signing at the beginning.
Carlos Narvaez from the Yankees, who became the most underrated move of the offseason. Nobody knew it at the time, but he was going to become the Red Sox starting catcher in 2025. But both Chapman and Narvaez were about to be completely overshadowed by the hype of Atlanta's free agent pitcher Max Fried. The Red Sox and the Yankees were in a back and forth to land the superstar. Boston's final offer for Fried was 7 years, $190 million. But when they thought a deal could be finalized, the Yankees came away with him, offering an overall better contract. Unsurprisingly, fans were extremely upset. but Breslow and Cora were both determined to add a star pitcher.
All right, we have some breaking news coming your way from Major League Baseball, where the Boston Red Sox are acquiring left-handed pitcher Garrett Crochet from the White Sox.
The flamethrower Garrett Crochet, one of the hardest throwing pitchers in baseball, was on his way to Boston. Crochet was the best decision that the Red Sox have made in the 2020s. They followed him up by adding starting pitcher Walker Buehler, who is coming off of an amazing playoff run with the LA Dodgers. As they went into spring training, this is what the 2024 Red Sox starting infield had looked like. Clearly, all of them could be solid hitters, but Casas, Campbell, and Devers specifically were glaring problems defensively. Of course, it's easy to single out Rafael Devers. He was a veteran now. He had been given chance after chance to improve his glove at third base. Yet, his agents were adamant that after 2024, he would continue playing third. Craig Breslow began to think that Devers would actually be best as a DH, especially because Masataka Yoshida...
So okay, I have a rebuttal on this. He's saying this right now. I have a rebuttal on this. That was not the narrative going into the offseason when talks were starting to spark up about Alex Bregman coming here. That was not the narrative. The narrative was that Bregman was a Gold Glove second baseman and that he was going to come into the Red Sox organization as a second baseman. And then you'd have Devers over there at third base still. And they made that public. Which, I'm assuming, they talked about Devers with that plan. And he signed off on that. But then, once spring training came around and they got Bregman, lo and behold, like they did with Xander Bogaerts, they made Alex Bregman Rafael Devers' replacement over there at third base. They lied to him straight to his face with the game plan of signing Alex Bregman. And that's what made him pissed off. Because once they got Bregman here, he got reps at third base, and then they pitched Devers with the idea like, hey, your glove at third base has not been that great, which I mean, I agree with. I do agree with that. But the way they did it was slimy. It was not how you run a professional sports organization. They basically said to him, hey, I'm sorry, man, but you've sucked so bad at third base. I'm paraphrasing. You've sucked so bad at third base. We have your replacement here. You don't have to worry about the glove no more. We're going to put you at DH. That's my only rebuttal for this narrative here. That's my only rebuttal here.
Actually be best as a DH. Especially because Masataka Yoshida had a major injury keeping him out for a good portion of 2025, opening the DH role. But Devers was not a fan of this at all.
So are you saying if they asked
No. I played third.
Despite Rafael Devers' hesitance to move over, the Red Sox were determined to add a superstar third baseman.
Nah, he's got it switched up. He's got the narrative switched up here.
The top remaining available free agent is now a Boston Red Sox. Alex Bregman has agreed to a 3-year, $120 million deal, according to our Jesse Rogers, Gold Glove winner in 2024, a 4-time All-Star, over 9 seasons in Houston.
The signing of Alex Bregman for $40 million per year showed that they wanted to win badly in 2025. But the problem that the Red Sox made was even after signing him, they said Devers was their third baseman. They said Bregman would play second.
Never mind! Never mind! Okay, no, back to the W, man. Back to the W. Sorry, I should have let you cook. My fault. My fault! I should have let you cook. Thank you. I'm glad you cleared it up in the video. It came later than I would have... Whoa, pause. Whoa, that's fucking crazy. Oh, yeah! That's insane. But you brought it up later than I thought you were going to. And it was a little bit out of place, but I'm glad you did say it in here. So, good job.
To win badly in 2025. But the problem that the Red Sox made was even after signing him, they said Devers was their third baseman. They said Bregman would play second base.
They said it before they signed him too.
Completely switched up and made Devers play DH. Though this noise would become completely forgettable as we got closer to the regular season. They went all in on 2025 with a huge contract extension of Garrett Crochet. Through the first half of 2025, Devers was a designated hitter and Bregman was a third baseman. They were the clear and away best hitters in the Red Sox lineup.
Yep.
All while Garrett Crochet was a top 3 pitcher in all of baseball.
Yep.
Boston was winning games, but drama was still continuing with this team about other things. Fans complained about top prospects being in the minor leagues for way too long, such as Marcelo Meyer and Roman Anthony. Meyer wasn't called up until May, and Anthony wasn't up until June 9th. Both of whom struggled at first, but the hype built momentum for the Red Sox to really begin winning, and that's exactly what they did. In the midst of a 5-game win streak, the Red Sox were about to shake up their roster to the likes we had not seen since the Mookie Betts trade.
Word has broken that the San Francisco Giants and the Boston Red Sox
Another
made
embarrassing
a
moment for them.
massive deal, sending Rafael Devers, Boston's third baseman, who signed an 11-year, $331 million deal. He'll go
Such
to
a Red
San
Sox thing to
Francisco.
do.
The only way to justify trading a player like Devers is if there was something seriously wrong. And clearly there was. This situation is because of all the parties involved. You see, Devers' reluctance to play third base was a problem, but he should have done anything to help the team win. But at the same time, Cora and Breslow should have been transparent and honest, instead of flat out lying to their best hitter.
Right.
They got a former first-round pick in James Tibbs, struggling starting pitcher Kyle Harrison, and a 6 ERA bullpen arm in
Honestly, like now looking back at the trade, you would have hit on 2 out of the 3 players from that return. You would have hit on 2 out of 3 of them. Kyle Harrison right now, he's got what, a sub 3 ERA? I gotta go take a look real quick at these stats. I have to bring this up. Kyle Harrison right now, wow, my fault. I said he was worse than what he actually is. 5-1, a 1.77 ERA, 59 Ks, a 1.07 whip. He's been phenomenal for Milwaukee. And then you want to go to James Tibbs down in the minor leagues. James Tibbs in the minor leagues this year has 11 home runs, 35 RBIs, batting .316, has an on-base percentage of .424, a slugging percentage of .599, and has an OPS of 1.023. You would have hit on 2 out of the 3 guys in this trade. You actually would have hit on 2 out of the 3. But you traded James Tibbs away for Polar Express Man. And then you traded Kyle Hicks away for the worst statistical hitter in Major League Baseball.
You stupid.
So by default, you lost a trade. Even worse, somehow. Like, could you have predicted them to be that good, like, when you traded for them? Maybe not, but... Oh my god, that's hilarious. Like, at the time, you said James Tibbs, Kyle Harrison, you're like, oh, great, prospects, woo. But they would have hit, like, You actually could have made the... Like, if you kept those two alone, you could have made the discussion to me that they won that trade. You could have had that discussion with me. And it would have been a debatable topic. But nope. You traded both of those guys away for worse pieces, and you ended up losing the fucking trade. That's on fucking Breslow.
Jordan Hicks. This will either go down as a genius move that allowed them to sign a different franchise player, or it will go down as one of the worst trades in MLB history, like Mookie Betts.
And it turned out to be the second option. But again, Devers, the type of talent he was when he was here, I mean, that's another player you could sit here and say, you don't trade those kinds of players. Is he on the Mookie Betts level? I would honestly say no. I don't think he's on the Mookie Betts level of players, but he's in that superstar category, though. Like Xander Bogaerts was in his prime. Like, he's in that category, that's for sure. Players like that, you just don't get rid of them. You don't. Or if you are, it's gotta be for some ridiculous return. I mean, I don't know. Like, now looking back at it, like, knowing what we know now, I mean, you would have gotten a stud pitcher and one of the top prospects in baseball. So, like, now in hindsight, obviously, you can sit here and be like, well, they got two really good players in this return. But I'm going to sit here and play devil's advocate and say, you don't know what James Tibbs is going to be like in the major leagues. You just don't know. Could he turn into something? Yeah, he could turn into something, but we don't know right now. That's unknown. So, I'll wait on James Tibbs to get to the major leagues to make that discussion for the 2 out of 3 players that they would have hit on. But Kyle Harrison, I think that's a foregone conclusion that you would have hit on that return. So, I think at the end of the day, if you got Kyle Harrison, James Tibbs, like you got the return that you did, I feel like it's more closer to the wash than it is a loss. But I do still think it was a loss at the end of the day because you can use Devers on this roster right now. Like, he's a bat that you desperately need in this lineup. I mean, he's not doing that good this year, but, like, you get what I'm saying. So, I still view this as a loss. Like, if you kept the players that you got in that return. But what you did after the trade makes this 1,000 times worse.
One thing is for certain. This means that there is not a single player left from the 2018 World Series roster. In the second half, the 2025 Red
I need an
Sox
update
have
video
18
from him.
playoff teams they have to face, 15 division leaders, and if they make the playoffs, it will be nothing short of a miracle. But it didn't have to be this way. These are the players that the Red Sox have willingly chosen to let walk through free agency or trade. Whereas these are the players currently on the Red Sox MLB roster that they got for these guys. Could you imagine how good they'd be if they paid Schwarber?
So wait, what was that list?
That
So the Red Sox traded away Mookie Betts, David Price, Andrew Benintendi, Chris Sale, Kyle Schwarber. Oh wait, no, this is including players who walked too for nothing. Okay, so they traded Mookie Betts, they traded David Price, they traded Andrew Benintendi, they traded Chris Sale, they traded Rafael Devers, they let Xander Bogaerts walk, and they let Kyle Schwarber walk. And in return for those players, they got
currently on the Red Sox MLB roster.
Is that Greg Weissert? I think that's Greg Weissert. That's definitely not Garrett Crochet. I mean, I got confused for a second there, but That's got to be Narvaez. Yeah, that's Narvaez. Oh, because he was included, I think, for... Was it Verdugo? Or was it Rule 5? I don't know off the top of my head. I have to go back and research that. But that's Narvaez. That's Weiser. I don't know who the hell this guy is. And who's this guy? Is that Tibbs? No, that's not Tibbs. Who the fuck are these two guys?
Who the fuck is that guy? Who the fuck is that? You know damn well who I am. Who the fuck is that?
This is what's left from the guys that you lost? Dear God.
That they got for these guys. Could you imagine how good they'd be if they paid Schwarber over Yoshida or Mookie over Devers? The same problems have haunted them over and over again for years, from bad decisions to bad defense to bad starting pitching. All seem like things that Boston will never be able to get away from. But based on how they've played since the trade deadline, maybe they'll be in the playoffs once again to begin a new run in 2025.
Yeah, I need an updated W video. I need an updated video, however, after the 2025 offseason. I'm going to take a look at his channel to see if he brought one for the community, and if he did, I will react to it. But W video to purely baseball, I will leave his link in the description down below, along with his original video link in the description down below as well. Tell him that I love the video. It was a phenomenal video, and nailed it. Nailed the downfall of the Boston Red Sox. It sucks. I mean, he's clearly a Sox fan too, so I get his pain. It's unfortunate. It is unfortunate what the organization has become. I really don't need to say much. I mean, he kind of did it all for me. The moral of the story here was bad decision making by personnel upstairs and cheapness of front office. That was essentially the moral of the story in this video, and it went exactly how I was hoping for it to go. So W to him for the video. Leave a thumbs up if you guys enjoyed this reaction. Subscribe now if you guys new. You guys know what to do. Go check out the website. The link is in the description down below. If you guys want to be notified whenever we drop an upload, hit that notification bell so you can be the first one to watch these videos. Thank you guys for watching. It's been your boy Jesse, and we'll see ya in the next one. Later, guys.